Hey everybody, welcome back to Harris Family Adventures. This is the second in a series of 4 videos about what to expect of the Valentin Imperial Riviera Maya. Justin and I went the last week of June in 2023, and I have done a video about what you can expect of the rooms and check-in process. This is going to be about food and beverages. Then I will have another one coming out next week about what you can expect of the pools and entertainment, and then what you can expect if you're traveling to and from. So be sure to subscribe so you can see those. If you're new around here, Justin and I love going to the Valentin. This is actually our 4th time going. So we've gone 2019, 2020, before the world ended, 2022, and then 2023, and we will be going back more than likely in 2024. So if you have any questions, I'm always happy to try to answer any of them. There's also down below all kinds of videos that I have made about the Valentin. Last year I made a video about each day, so this one's a little bit different. We're gonna focus on food and beverages, some of the best parts. So I tried to organize my notes here because there's so much to cover. So this might be a long one, but worth it. Okay, let's start off our day with breakfast. There's 2 restaurant and 3 options for breakfast. There's a lot of options. I shouldn't even list them. Okay, here we go. I shouldn't number them. I'm going to list them. The first is Mar and Tierra. So Mar and Tierra I'm going to reference for both breakfast and lunch as well as dinner. All 3 of them are going to be a la carte, where you're going to have a menu that, yes, you're going to scan with the QR code and you're going to order off of that menu. I'll go ahead and put the menu for breakfast here. This is a place that's situated in between the main pool and the ocean. You can kind of see the ocean a little bit. You can feel the ocean breezes. You can hear the ocean. So this would be that pathway. As you go to the ocean, you go off to the right. So that's option 1. Once upon a time it was a buffet. It's no longer a buffet. It is still a la carte. I wish it was a buffet, but it's not. Okay, the other option, I'm looking here, the other option is La Marche. La Marche is a buffet. It has always been a buffet. La Marche is actually closer to the plaza where the other restaurants are, because part of La Marche becomes the Mexican restaurant La Hacienda in the evening. So as you walk into La Marche, it's really, really big. There's a really big outdoor space. They have some ceiling fans going, but it's outdoors. Can't be very, very warm. Off to the side, there's a smaller room that has air conditioning. We're gonna get to that in a bit. And then there's the main place that has the buffet. And over time, we've seen it go from like a complete buffet to last year when we went, they were serving you dishes, so you didn't touch the handles yourself. And then there were small plates that you would grab of other things. And this year, it's almost back to kind of how it used to be, but they do still have those small plates. That is available for breakfast and for lunch. We'll get to lunch in just a second. So I'll tell you the story when we get to the lunch. Okay, another option for breakfast is the coffee shop. The coffee shop is also located in that plaza area, and you think of it as a coffee shop. And if you're wondering what's all included at an all-inclusive, almost all is included. So yes, the coffee shop is included. It's not like it's a Starbucks or anything. It is included. So they have a whole list of coffee drinks, but then they also have for breakfast some different kinds of breakfast sandwiches. Now we didn't try any, but we did see people taking them to go. Now this is a big difference because at like the buffet, obviously you can't take food from there, and other restaurants you can't take food. They don't have to-go boxes, but at the coffee shop you can take your breakfast sandwich to go. And I saw several people that had them, and they weren't on like plates, like they were wrapped up like they were to go. So that might be a really good option if you just want to grab something quick and head down to the pool, or grab something quick because you're checking out, you're traveling home that day. That might be a good option, and people seem to really enjoy them. So that's another option. And then there's room service, and there's always room service. Room service is available. It is all included. We do always tip. Room service is available 24 hours a day, including breakfast. A note about room service is we ordered it several times. We didn't order breakfast but every time we ordered it, they told us it would be 45 minutes, and it was 45 minutes. So if you're thinking, we got to get going in about half an hour, we have a flight to catch, our transfer person is going to be here, we'll just order room service real quick. It's going to take 45 minutes, so that's not going to be your best option there, but room service is an option if you just kind of want to have a slow morning, you want to wake up, call in that order, and then just kind of take your time getting yourself up and ready for the day and eat in your room. So those are the main breakfast options. Let's move on to lunch. Lunch is going to have just about the same options. So we'll start with Mar and Tierra again, kind of located on the beach, in between the beach and pool area. That's going to be an a la carte. Then you're going to have La Marche, and that is the buffet. Now, our last full day at the resort this time, I was getting lunch and I was kind of walking around, you're trying to like read the signs and see what different things are, and there was a guy kind of helping himself going this way and I was going this way, and he was like, oh, sorry. I was like, oh yeah, no problem. And then he said, I know you. And I was like, oh, okay. And he said, you're that YouTube lady, you're on YouTube. And I made this sound. Here's a warning if you're wearing headphones. I made this sound, what? Like that. I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh. I go, yeah, I do. No one has ever recognized me. And he said, really? And I said, yes, really. I did double check after that. I have just a little over 100 subscribers. So I was like, yeah, I have like 100 subscribers, like no one. And he said they watch my videos all the time. Then I saw them later in the pool, got to meet his wife. We got to exchange hugs. Met his friends that they were traveling with, but here's what they said. They said, be sure to include this. So I'm including it for my friends from Texas. At La Marche, I told you guys, it relates, I promise. I didn't go on a tangent. It connects here. So at La Marche, like I said, for breakfast, you walk in, there's like that main seating area. And then there's also a little room off to the side. Now, typically when we would go there for lunch, and anywhere you go, just as a side note, they're gonna ask your room number. Then they have a list of all of the guests by room number. So if you say 5225, they write that down, they write it on a little slip of paper, then they look over, they cross-reference, and they say, Mr. and Mrs. Harris, and we said, yep, that's us. So when you check in for a restaurant, whatever restaurant that happens to be, because if you're sitting down, they'll ask you the same things. They would always ask us at La Marche, would you want to sit inside or outside, or where would you like to sit, or something like that. There is an air-conditioned room. Remember how I said that part of La Marche turns into the La Hacienda Mexican restaurant at night? That room is air-conditioned. So also, side note, if you go to La Hacienda at night, there is an air-conditioned room. Now, it's not cold. It's not a cold air-conditioned room, but it is air-conditioned. And partly the reason it's not cold because the doors are constantly open. People are coming and going. It's a buffet. There is an air-conditioned room. So I had seen this gentleman in the food area, that is air-conditioned. Then he went back to his table and he saw me go back to like this side room. So they asked their waiter, like, what's over there? And he said, oh, that's like our air-conditioned room. So I saw, like 5 minutes after I sat down, this group of 4 come in and carry their trays and sit there. So I am including it. When you go for breakfast or you go for lunch to La Marche, there is a room that is air-conditioned. Now, they have cloth chairs in that room because it is part of the restaurant at night. So they do ask if you are wearing a wet swimsuit that you not sit there. I totally get that, totally understand. They're not gonna check. It is an honor system thing. So if it's a little bit damp, we still usually sit there. That last day, she was like, have you been in the pool? Because I said, we went air conditioned. And I said, no, this is just sweat. I'm just sweating. So they do ask, if you're still dripping, that you do sit in the outdoor part. Those chairs are made to dry a little bit faster and that sort of thing. But as long as you're not sopping wet, you can sit in the air-conditioned part. Also, side note, since we're talking about it, if you're wondering about dress codes for breakfast and for lunch, you can wear your swim wear to restaurants. You have to wear shoes. You have to have some kind of cover up. Men have to have some kind of shirt on. Like, it can be a tank top. They just can't be bare-chested in the restaurants. For dinner, just so you know, I feel like this is very well advertised, but sometimes I see comments like people are confused by it. Men have to wear closed-toed shoes and long pants and a shirt with a collar to dinner, to all of the restaurants except for Mar and Tierra at night. And women, they just say kind of like dress nicer, like you can wear like nice capris, like nice sandals. I've never seen a woman be asked to leave, but they will turn men away if they are not wearing long pants. And they say jeans are okay as long as they're not like too ragged looking. We just take like some khaki pants and dress shoes for Justin. I have down below the whole packing list and I explain what we wear. Anyway, okay, lunch, we'll get back to it. So we have Mar and Tierra, okay? We have La Marche, which has an air-conditioned room. we have food trucks. Now, if you watched last year, you know I was a little upset because I just wanted to try the food trucks, and I went up to the food truck, and then I was ignored for a while, and then I was told I was at the wrong food truck because where my food is, or because where our seats were. So I had to cross the bridge, and then I stood at that food truck for a long time, and then I was told no, I'd have to sit down to order food. I think it's still a little unsure. People are still kind of figuring it out. Here's what it seemed to be when we went, is that there were occasionally people, like waiters, that would come to chairs to order, and you could order food. You do have to eat the food outside of the pool. I think what they prefer though, so I did see that happen like 2 or 3 times the whole time we were there. More commonly, what I would see is where the 2 food trucks are by the main pool. So these are by the main pool. That is where the out of the pool part is of the pool bar. Does that make sense? So at the main pool, there's 2 pool bars. You swim up, you order a drink, you sit there in the water, and you have your drink. But then that bar also continues to go outside of the pool, and there's some seating there, and there's some shade, and that's where the food truck is. So there's 2 different spots for that. And I think most often what happens is people go, they sit at one of those tables, a waiter comes, you order using the QR code, you order from the food truck, then they go. Nobody actually walks to the food truck and orders there. I saw someone trying to do it, and they were like, no, go sit down. I've heard great things about the food truck, and if you aren't wanting to dry off or put a cover up on or put shoes on, then there's your option. You can sit outside right by a bar. Those bars, we're gonna talk about it, but they tend to be less busy, even though it's kind of part of the same bar. People go outside the pool. It's a little less busy than actually in the pool, and you can have some food, and I've heard it's delicious. So we have the 2 restaurants, one at a la carte, one a buffet. We have the food trucks by the main pool. Then at the Golden Pool, which is a different pool, I'll talk more about the pools next video. The Golden Pool, they will also bring you food. They have a menu. They don't have food trucks there, but they do have a menu. We ordered lunch there twice, once just Justin and I, and then once with our friends. And they actually won't even give you your food if you're still in the pool. So like the first day we had ordered some food, the gentleman came, it does take a bit of time. The gentleman came and said, oh, I have your food. We said, oh, great, there's our chairs right there. You know, we knew we weren't gonna eat it in the pool. And he was like, okay, and stood there. We said, oh, okay, we'll get out. And so then we got out, and once we were out, he put the food down for us. So they just are trying to encourage, you know, people, well, they're trying to discourage bad habits, and they don't want food in their pools, which I really appreciate as somebody who's swimming in those pools. So you aren't able to sit in the pool and eat, but they will bring it poolside to you at the Golden Pool. You also have the coffee shop. They have donuts and bagels and sandwiches all day long, so that's an option. And I would assume that because people were taking breakfast sandwiches out, that you could take those things out as well if you wanted to grab something and go. Also, the coffee shop is very cold. Their air conditioning in there is always like blasting. So if you really want to chill off, that's a place to go. Let's see, Mar&Tierra, room service. Oh, and room service, yes. So room service, like I said, is available for 24 hours a day. The lunch and dinner menu are exactly the same. I did see, so 24 hours a day, Mar&Tierra, I'm not sure what the hours are. You're gonna access all of that information on using that QR code that they give you at the beginning. It takes you to, I don't know if it's an app or website. I'm not sure how that works. They have all of that information there. La Marche, this is one thing. So they start serving lunch, I think at noon, and then at 4, it turns into a snack bar. When our friends came, they got there a day after we did. They came a little bit later, so we met them. We had enjoyed the buffet, but by the time they got there, it had turned into a snack bar. So they weren't able to go in and access the buffet room part of it, but they were able to order from a menu, and it was the same kind. It was, you know, sandwiches and nachos and pizza and all of that kind of stuff. So lunch, lots and lots and lots of options. I will say again, like I said, because I have a note here, if you are traveling with friends, we saw a lot of groups of people, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. and you're like, okay, well, I'll meet you guys at breakfast. I'll get a table for the 4 of us. They do ask for everyone's room number. So if you say, hey, I need a table for 4, they'll say, great, what are the room numbers? So I would say like 5225, and then I would need to know the other people's room numbers as well. If you don't, it's not a huge deal. They can look it up the other way, but I would just get that group text started right away and just everybody add their room number to it so you have everybody's information. Okay, so let's talk about dinner. There's a lot about dinner here. Okay, so there's La Hacienda. That's a Mexican restaurant. We've eaten there. It's authentic Mexican food. It's not one of my favorites. It's beautiful. It's very, very pretty. You can see them making tortillas. There's the French restaurant, which I know is a huge favorite for a lot of people. I do like their potato soup. I didn't care for the French onion, which I know is a huge crowd pleaser. It's probably the fanciest of the restaurants. It's gorgeous inside. It's 2 stories tall. With it kind of being open in the middle, a lot of times they'll have a cello player playing. It's very classy. It's a restaurant where, you know, if you have a table of 4, then they have 2 waiters come, and so they lift all of the domes off of your plates at the same time. It's that type of thing. There's an Indonesian restaurant that we've never eaten at. My parents did go to the Valentin. We convinced them end of 2022. They ate there. They didn't love it. There's Mar and Tierra. So that is like a steakhouse. I mean, it kind of is implied, sea and land. It's a steakhouse. This year we were gonna go, our friends were going there for dinner, so we were gonna go. I don't actually really like anything on that menu, so I said, okay, well, I'm gonna order some room service while we're getting ready, and then I'll kind of eat here, and then maybe just get like something small there. And I said, do you want anything, Justin? So he was like, okay, well, I'll take this and this. And he's like, let's just order room service. So we just ordered our big room service meal. And we actually just skipped Mar and Tierra. It is nice that it's a little bit more casual. You can hear the ocean. There's the breezes, that type of thing. It just isn't my favorite. There's Ginger. This gets a little bit complicated. So Ginger is the Asian restaurant. Within Ginger, there's the sushi bar, and it's just a bar where you sit and eat sushi. There's an a la carte Asian menu, and then there's the hibachi tables. I believe there's 4 of them, and they each seat 10 people. That is the only thing you have to make a reservation for. Reservations are made day of with your concierge at your building. When we were there this time, the concierge desk opened at 10. I believe previous years it was either 8 or 9. So you have to be in line a little before 10 and just hope. And then at 10, the concierges all just start calling this one number. And then probably pretty quickly, I don't even want to make a guess, pretty quickly the times fill up. We've never had a hard time getting a reservation, even a reservation within like normal eating hours. I know like the bigger your party is, the harder it's going to be. I like the food, it's good. It's not my favorite. You get a soup, and then you get an assortment of sushi, and then fried rice or regular rice. And then what do you get? Oh, 2 choices of protein, and then desserts. And there is some showmanship with it. That's kind of the, you know, that's the whole reason to go there. That's the only thing you have to make reservations for. We'll talk more about reservations in just a bit. And then there is Italian. We kind of have a tradition. We always go to the Italian restaurant the first night that we're at the resort with our friends that we go with. I love it. I think technically they call it a Mediterranean restaurant, but I mean, it's like lasagna and pasta and that kind of thing. Speaking of like all included, so what's all included? Anything you want. So at that restaurant, I know I love the caprese salad. So like this time I got 2 caprese salads and a Caesar salad. You can do that. And then somebody else we were with, they didn't want any of the appetizers, and so then they just didn't eat any of that type of thing. Justin got a soup, and it was like a cauldron of soup. Like, it was the most soup ever. They really fill you up. So then, like, by the time my lasagna came, it was delicious, but I ate like 3 bites, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. I can't eat anymore. Okay, so here's some things about all of the restaurants in general. We've talked about the dress code. Reservations. So I believe if you are part of the like special privé club, you get to make reservations, and that can help things a bit. And I only think that because when we were waiting to get into the Italian restaurant, someone came in and they said, hey, and their last name, I don't know, Wilson, we have a reservation at 8:30 for a party of 8. Now that club, last I checked, was pretty expensive. It was $60 per person per day, and I think you have to get it the whole time you're there. I don't know, we've never done it. You also get some more perks. You get a cabana, either on the beach or next to the main pool. I think you can get lobster for free. I think you get some like more premium liquor in your room in your mini bar. We've never felt that it's worth it, but if you have a big group and you do want to make reservations, that would make life easier. Maybe that's something. And I don't know if, like, in that group of 8, if there was just one of the couples was part of that club and then they were able to make reservations for the whole crew or everybody. I don't know, because there can be a wait, and especially if you have a group of 8, I would assume there'd be a wait. Obviously, the earlier you go or the later you go, it's going to be easier. The smaller your group, it's going to be easier. There can be a wait. They do have the pager things that like buzz and make a noise, and those pagers work quite a ways away. So if you want to go put your name in and then you want to go to one of the bars or to the plaza, you'll have that thing. You don't have to like stay around that little restaurant. So that's a nice thing to know. And then a final thing, I think this is the final thing about the restaurant, well, 2. They tend to be slow. It tends to be kind of a drawn out, slow experience. And part of that is because there's so many courses. Like if we go out to eat here, we're not getting like a super salad and an appetizer and a main course. But it's also kind of slow. That can be frustrating at times because I'm not used to that. And if you are wanting to like, and I'm going to talk about entertainment in the next video, if you are wanting to make it to the show, or if if you have something else that you want to get to, just know it's bare minimum an hour. I would say an hour and a half or 2 hours. I would plan on like 2 hours to eat dinner. It is slow. And again, just try to like sit back and enjoy it. Sometimes you're really, really hungry and all you want is food, and then it gets kind of frustrating. Just have a drink and just try to sit back and enjoy it. And then yes, I've mentioned it a couple of times, they are still not using menus. It is still QR codes. No, I don't like QR codes. Something nice about it is if you are trying to decide where you want to go for dinner, you can look at all of the menus and kind of see where you want to go based off that. You don't have to go to each place and look at the menu, but I still don't like QR codes. I don't see them going anywhere. Hey guys, this is the outro for this video because it was getting too long. So I know I had promised you food and drinks. You just basically got the food. Go ahead and make sure that you are subscribed, and you can stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be about all of the different bars that they have at the Valentin. I will also give you what our room service order is, as well as tell you how we handle tipping. So make sure that you're subscribed so you can watch that next video. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye.
Can't forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon. I love it.